Here's the brutal truth about American women's rugby. Heartbreak and hope often arrive in the same package. And Saturday's World Cup exit perfectly captured this bittersweet reality. The U.S. Eagles dominated Samoa with a crushing 60-0 victory in York. But dreams were shattered when Australia managed to keep England to just 47-7 in Brighton. That result was precisely what the Wallaroos needed to snatch the quarterfinal spot from America's grasp on points differential alone. Talk about a gut punch delivered from hundreds of miles away. But here's where it gets controversial. Should the Eagles have done more in their earlier matches to avoid this nail-biting dependency on other teams' results? Kate Zachary's squad will undoubtedly feel the sting of missing their quarterfinal clash with Canada, especially knowing how tantalizingly close they came to securing it themselves. The margins were razor-thin, and several what-if moments will haunt them during the long flight home. Consider their tournament opener in Sunderland, where nearly 43,000 spectators witnessed England's 69-7 demolition of the Americans on a night that made women's rugby history. Could the Eagles have kept that margin tighter? Then there's the goal-kicking demons that plagued them throughout. Against Samoa, 5 missed conversion attempts meant a 60-0 victory instead of a potentially crucial 70-0 scoreline. But even that wouldn't have been enough, as it turned out. And this is the part most people miss. The most painful missed opportunity came in round 2 against Australia. That epic 31-31 deadlock will be remembered as one of the World Cup's greatest matches. But for American rugby, it represents what might have been their most historic victory, stolen by wayward kicks when it mattered most. Following the Samoa demolition, Captain Zachary displayed the grace under pressure that defines great leaders. We put our whole hearts on the line, and that's all I can ask for. So wherever the chips fall, they'll fall how they will, and we'll just pick up the pieces. Those weren't just words. The Eagles truly left everything on the field. Zachary herself embodied this commitment, with the Ealing Trailfinders flanker producing a spectacular last-ditch tackle that denied Samoa what would have been their maiden World Cup try. For a team that struggled on rugby's biggest stages, that moment would have meant everything. Head coach Sione Fukufuka captured the surreal nature of their situation perfectly after the Samoa match. We rise and fall as a team, so we'll watch England versus Australia together, and obviously, first time ever, I think, cheering on the English team and hoping for the best. The best never materialized. But here's what should give Fukufuka genuine excitement during his post-tournament analysis. A collection of younger talents that could transform American rugby over the next 4-year cycle leading to Australia 2029. Leading this youth revolution is Freda Tafuna, a 22-year-old phenomenon who's still balancing textbooks with try-scoring at Lindenwood University in Missouri. This flanker possesses that rare combination of explosive pace and devastating power that leaves defenders grasping at air. Her resume already reads like rugby fiction. Back-to-back College Player of the Year honors, 6 World Cup tries, including 2 against Australia and 4 against Samoa, plus 2 Player of the Match awards. All glory to God, Tafuna reflected after Saturday's victory. Shout out to the girls, my family and my friends back home, and just thank you to the crowd. You guys are the best. Before the Samoa encounter, conversations with Jarrell-Searcy revealed just how special this emerging generation truly is. The dynamic Eagles lock achieved something remarkable, scoring tries in every World Cup match. Her highlight reel includes a breathtaking 40-meter sprint against England, a determined short-range surge against Australia, and a commanding 20-meter finish against Samoa. Freda's a mutant, Jarrell-Searcy laughed, using Rugby Forward's ultimate compliment. Oh, she's so cool. Post-graduation plans suggest Tafuna will likely follow Jarrell-Searcy's path to England, where the Harvard graduate currently plays for Sale Sharks. This transatlantic pipeline, also featuring scrum half Cass Bargle, who shone brightly during the English leg of the tournament, highlights American rugby's evolving landscape. Jarrell-Searcy sees collegiate rugby as America's secret weapon. The college game is some of the best resourced rugby you can play as a young American athlete. I don't think you could possibly overstate the role of the college game as a feeder for American rugby right now. And then with women's elite rugby, the new semi-professional domestic league hopefully taking root, it's all growing. Her optimism about the future borders on infectious. I think the future of this group, and the next cycle especially, is very bright. Watching Harvard every weekend, I never would have played on the team they've got now. The girls they can recruit, on their first day of college, they are better than some senior players now. I mean, just look at Soraya Ibarra. Ibarra represents rugby's new breed, a 19-year-old fullback from Southern California with New Zealand influences, who bypassed traditional college rugby entirely. Instead, she signed directly with USA Sevens, chasing Olympic glory with single-minded determination. She's 19, tearing it up. Jarrell-Searcy marveled about Ibarra's transition to 15s rugby. The second we saw her in camp, we knew she was special, and she's part of a generation that are all special. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool couple years. While the immediate future holds disappointment as players pack for their journey home, Saturday's post-match scenes provided beautiful consolation. Americans and Samoans gathered on the field in genuine celebration, embracing, laughing, dancing, and joining voices in a hymn led by the Samoan team. A grateful tribute to an appreciative crowd. These displays of pure rugby joy have defined this World Cup, with opponents celebrating not just victories, but the shared challenges, the unprecedented crowds, and the media attention focused on a sport built fundamentally on respect and mutual support. Joy has been a big theme for us, Jarrell-Searcy explained, referencing a squad that includes Ilona Mayer, the social media sensation whose beast beauty brains philosophy has captivated global audiences. She continued with a revealing glimpse behind the scenes. Charles Dudley, our strength and conditioning coach, he has this graph where it's kind of for him to tell us how much the week is gonna suck. We got to this week, it was the peak of the peak on the graph. We're like dipping into this red zone, where you might start to pick up little injuries, because we're working so hard. We know that, and we're prepared for that. But I think also we were sort of like synced up in our menstrual cycles in a way that was not helpful to also be at the peak of the peak. So there's tears and frustration, and just like the absolute pits, and I sat with Mel Bosman, our forwards coach, at breakfast, and I pulled up this picture when we were at a captain's run making a TikTok with Lomar. And the photographers were there, and they took a picture of us, like, huddling around Lo's phone. And we're tight, and we're leaning in, and we're grinning, just trying to figure out how to get this TikTok done right. And I was like, imagine if this huddle wasn't about, a silly, inconsequential TikTok. Imagine if that was a high-performance huddle, and we're focusing on, a drop ball, a play that didn't go right, and we're gonna get it right. And we're excited about getting it right. We're not frustrated about getting it wrong. And Mel was like, that's so important. Obviously from her experience with the New Zealand Black Ferns, she knows about that sisterhood and how motivating it can be to express yourself and not necessarily be constantly trying to avoid failure, but actually seeking success. And we've brought joy ever since then. Our end of the week units training has been anybody who's not in, because we have injuries here and there, dragging a speaker up and down the line out, whatever disruptive music they can, like absolute not safe for work music. We had pool noodles one time. We were throwing tackle pads in the air. Would you believe some of our best attack and line-out drill has come out of those joyful experiences? So yeah, joy, and especially feminine joy. I think it's a non-zero part of this World Cup, as an athlete and as a fan. But here's the controversial question that needs asking. Is this emphasis on joy and team bonding enough to compete at rugby's highest level? Some traditionalists might argue that World Cup quarterfinals are won through grinding preparation and ruthless execution, not TikTok videos and pool noodle training sessions. What do you think? Does American rugby need more discipline and traditional coaching methods? Or is this joyful, innovative approach exactly what will propel them to future success? Should the Eagles have prioritized clinical goal-kicking practice over creative team-building exercises? The debate around balancing fun with fundamentals could define the next generation of American rugby. Tell us in the comments, are you Team Joy or Team Traditional when it comes to elite rugby preparation? The future of American women's rugby might depend on getting this balance exactly right.